We've been here 7 days. It's now the 8th and the final stage of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. The riders started with a prologue, the only test against the clock in this 8-day race. A short one, just under 6 kilometers, beautiful sunny skies in the town of Wuxi. It didn't all go to plan for everybody. It certainly did though for Alexander Golovash of Minsk Cycling Club. He would take the first orange jersey and the overall lead. Staying in Wuxi, the first road stage will begin the day after. The gun fired very early in the morning. 8:30 start, and a very fast one too. And once the sprint, inevitable sprint came to pass, it will be Jakub Mareczko, overall winner the previous year, who would raise his arms the first. Moving to the south of Taihu Lake, peloton headed towards Huzhou and the Wuxing tourist resort. After some traditional dance at the start, riders again will get underway to the serious business of trying to set up a sprint. The Breakaway did everything possible to try and avoid that. Even a crash though couldn't put off the riders. There would be a problem for the leader, however, after a brief argument between the Breakaway. Golovash would go down with 400 meters to go until the 3-kilometer safety zone. He'd lose the overall lead. Jakub Mareczko would again win, swapping his green points jersey for the orange of the leader. Into the mountains, and a first ever foray into the hills for the Tour of Taihu Lake in now its 7th edition. Starting at Hello Kitty World and heading up into a very misty, cold and miserable Anji, Jakub Mareczko knew that he would have to seek the lead. Not one for the sprinters, certainly one for the climbers. Cameron Bailey of Attacking Team Gusto followed the moves. They go through tunnels, almost freezing temperatures, fog, rain, and some miserable, miserable conditions, with the odd mishap thrown in as well. Vini would ride strong at the front. Every team going would give it a go. And as the wind was getting up, the conditions worsening, 26-year-old Australian Cameron Bailey of Attacking Team Gusto made his move and took his first ever professional win. That win would mean he would be the new leader of the race, standing atop the podium in orange. Well, the next day was the first defence of the orange jersey for the Australian. The Jiangsu circuit, though, a relatively easy one for general classification contenders. The main problem of the day, just avoiding the crashes on a very cold and miserable morning. Up and down a straight highway. Attacking Team Gusto putting a man in the breakaway to try and control things. And once we came into the final corner, riders knew that it would be time for a sprint, but this time for revenge. He'd been second, he'd been third, this time he'd end up first. Nicolas Marini of Vini Fantini, the first man to beat Jakub Mareczko to the line. And my, did he enjoy it. Another day, another expected sprint. Nantong to Haimen, this time northeast of the Taihu Lake zone, and heading back towards Shanghai. Once again, attacked straight from the off, leaving one of the east of China's biggest cities. And with 45 kilometers to go on finishing circuits, flat wide roads, the prep would just be 1 minute and 35 seconds. Late attacks to try and keep it going added some drama to the day. Jakub Mareczko would be hoping to gain some revenge. And despite heading into the final sprint in perfect position, again he was unable to hit the front. Marini had a go, but it would be his teammate covering his wheel, Eduard Grossu, who hadn't won for 2 years, to raise his arms with victory. 2 from 2 from Nippo. and a very happy Grossu on the podium. 2 stages left then to defend the orange jersey for Cameron Bailey. The next test would come at West Taihu Lake, again on a flat course, starting amongst some pretty impressive scenery. Ataki Team Gusto looking to defend all opportunities to take bonus seconds, with the general classification still fairly tight towards the top. Again, they were very happy to let a break go away and control things for most of the day. Jan Kraus will be the main man in the intermediate sprints, and the gap would slowly be whittled down. A good day for Darcy Ellen Norton as the most attacking rider of the day. And once the gap came back together, there'll be one lone attacker, Brodie Talbot, giving it a go. Before a crash would put Cameron Bailey, the leader, in trouble and add real drama to the end of the day. A bike swap with his teammate Aldermaerts, and a chase to get back on towards the end of the peloton and avoid slipping out of the lead. He would make it with 4 kilometers to go. And when the sprint arrived, it will be time for Jakub Mareczko to return to the top of the charts. Mareczko beating Nippo into 2nd and 3rd respectively. Duque finishing 4th and just outside of the bonus seconds that would have made him dangerous to the GC. But delight for the green jersey and Jakub Mareczko. So stage win number 3 for the Italian. And this is how it looked at the end of the day. Mareczko beating Marini, Grossu, Duque and Lippens. 2 hours 40 minutes of racing. There had been a crash at a very nervous moment though for Cameron Bailey in the lead with 1 stage still to survive.
Yeah, 10k to go. I was trying to see. I was still towards the front of the bunch, but there was just a crash through one of the corners, and I had nowhere to go, and the bike's just flown into me, and I've hit the deck. And luckily, I had my teammates around me, so Alder just gave me his bike straight away, and Luke and that helped pace me back onto the back of the bunch, and I just sat on the back of the bunch trying not to lose any time. So I can't thank my teammates enough for that, for looking out for me, and I haven't seen the results yet or anything, but I hope I should still be in the jersey.
So a prologue and 6 stages down. The Tour of Taihu Lake looks like this with 1 stage to go. Cameron Bailey looking to hang on. Fonzie 2nd, Duque 3rd. Bailey just about still in charge. So it's the final day, a chance to look around the local area. We've moved further inland, west of Taihu Lake today, and taking in most of the Qishanhu State Wetland Park. Qishan Lake, starting in the town of Jurong, which is the closest built-up area to this region. A misty start, heading around the Maoshan National 5A class scenic area. Well, this is a green area, a wetlands area, but an area that has been earmarked for development. This is due to be the Silicon Valley of the east of China in the next few years. Technological and scientific development. Today, though, it hosts bike racing, and the final day, the GC fight of this Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. Well, when we come back, we'll take a look at the start. We'll take a look at exactly what awaits the riders today, and we'll update you as to what has happened so far in this race. Some beautiful scenery to take a look at. Not sure where that's leading to. Let's hope that the riders themselves can find the right path and one that doesn't lead down a dead end. So it's all down to Ataki Team Gusto to defend. A couple of laps at the start, a couple of laps at the finish, and it is those finishing laps that involve a few different climbs. Same couple of climbs to be taken on twice. Some beautiful scenery in and around here, much more agricultural part of eastern China than the industrial homeland that we've seen so far in this race. Rice, wheat and cornfields. Lots of livestock around as well. And as well as cycling, fishing, an extremely popular pastime in this part of the world. Well, the harvest's been going on as we've driven into rural China. Some beautiful images from the helicopter there. But the bike racing is next. Inland we head to Jurong and the great finale in the Jiangsu Lake State Wetland Park. Well, this area is classed as a National 5A class scenic area. It's top of the charts as far as Chinese tourism is concerned. Jurong sits in the Yangtze River Delta. It's a mixture of ancient Buddhist temples, shows off its art, and of course the rural agricultural heritage is seen everywhere. So the temples, the monasteries overlook the cities. There's tea picking. There's plenty of hiking to be done around here as well. And the local tourist centre right next to the finish line with everything mapped out. Fishing is a popular pastime. And as well as Chinese and international tourism, this area will be developed into a technological powerhouse in the next few years. We're told that this is due to become the Silicon Valley of China. For now, it produces grapes, and the temples visited by thousands year upon year. The 2,100-year history of Jurong in great evidence everywhere you look. And it's in Jurong that this stage 7 starts, 130.6 kilometers, 2 laps around the start area before heading into the countryside on the Hubei Greenway. Through the finish line at the Maoshan Scenic Area. Intermediate sprints there before 2 laps of a hilly circuit, and a final downhill finish promises to be a fast one. So today's stage underway. This is where the general classification will be played out. We had a sunny, if not misty start in some areas. Chinese riders extremely popular. Leo Duque on his last day on a bike as a professional. What could Nippo bring to the party? This stage was anybody's. Cameron Bailey having to defend.
So Cameron, one stage away from winning the orange jersey. What's the mood like in the team?
Yeah, they're definitely pretty pumped. They're a little bit nervous. Today's going to be the hardest stage to defend it. If anyone's going to try and take the GC from me, today's the only day that's left to do it. It's a pretty lumpy course as well, so anything could happen. But I'm pumped, I'm confident.
and I'm confident in my boys as well to help keep it together and keep me out of trouble this time.
So Leonardo, your last day as a professional cyclist, how does that feel?
Well, c'est la dernière étape.
Well, it's the last stage.
Ça fait quand même quelque chose, mais
Well, we've done a few things already,
de faire une belle
but we're
étape.
going to do
On est
a good
bien
stage
placé au
today,
général,
and we're going to
puis
try
on
and
va
win.
essayer de jouer la gagne.
And hopefully you can win today. What is the plan for the team?
Les plans, c'est
plan
secret,
is-
mais ça dépend
Well,
des
it depends
autres
on how
équipes.
the race
C'est
goes.
pas que nous, parce
Depends on the
qu'on est,
teams,
on est
not
que
just
4.
us.
Donc ça dépend
There's a few
comment ils
people
vont
up there in
attaquer
the
les autres
GC,
équipes.
and I think we'll have to wait to see how the other
Au
teams
fur et à
attack.
mesure que se déroule la course, on va
And
voir
as
qu'est-ce qu'on
the
peut faire.
race
De toute
goes
façon,
on, we'll have a look
essayer
and then
de
decide.
faire sauter les leaders.
And we'll try and move the
Nicholas,
leaders.
last stage, how are you feeling?
Yeah, we are feeling good. Finally, last stage. Maybe it's not easy as the other days, but we'll try to stay in the group and sprint for in the end. Yeah, and we'll see.
It's been a great tour for the team, so everyone in the camp must be very happy.
Yeah, we didn't know we had such a good condition. We took 2 victories, some podium, and yes, we are happy for this transfer, and we'll try to win also today, but it will be hard as always.
Yeah, today fortunately is the last stage, and the object for today is take the green jersey, and I try in the final circuit to stay maybe in front, but today maybe I work for Godoy and Fonzi for the leader classification.
Today may be a chance to work for Fonzi and Godoy for the leaders' classification. That gives you just about a little bit of an idea as to what Villiers' thoughts are here. Maybe trying to dislodge Cameron Bailey and the leader from the orange jersey. We await excitement. We await a very hotly contested final stage of the Tour of Taihu Lake. The riders did get underway at about 9:45 local time. 130 kilometers, attacks as usual straight from the off, but this would be a difficult break to get into today. Narrow roads, they'll be fighting for it, much more akin to racing on the old roads of Northern Europe. This was proper bike racing out there, and Delco Marseille, one of the first teams on the attack with Lucas De Rossi. Best young rider maybe having a job to do for Leo Duque today in his retirement race. Could Cameron Bailey hang on? We'll be waiting to find out, and we will find out straight after this at the Tour of Taihu Lake. So the fight for the GC's coming up. In the meantime, we're treated to some beautiful visuals all over the Qishan Lake area. The Maoshan scenic route visited by many, many people. Maoshan is closest to Jurong. Jurong is 620,000 population. Classed as a medium to small size city in China. Not too far away from Nanjing, but just about inside the Shanghai economic circle. Of course, it's connected to Shanghai by railways and motorways, so it makes it nice and easy to visit for a weekend tourist break as well. Well, the temple on the hill can be seen from the finish line, but who will be first at the finish line today? Can Cameron Bailey do his job and hang on? Will his team be there to help him? After a sunny start, it's turned rather misty, rather murky, and an almost foreboding atmosphere. So they've already gone on to take on the first intermediate sprint at 32.6 kilometers onto the Hubei Greenway, heading down the Mamou Road. Second intermediate sprint comes just before their first passage of the finish line. That's when they officially enter the Maoshan scenic area. And 2 laps of the Lizhou Road is where really, with the climbs and twisty, turny roads on the descent as well, we will see the GC fight and the overall Taihu Lake win fought out. Of course, the first ever winner of this race was an Australian in David Kemp in 2010. Can Cameron Bailey be the next Australian to take victory? It's stage 7 of the Tour of Taihu Lake. Beautiful scenic area. 15 kilometers per hour the wind coming from the south. A little bit of a threat of rain. And we hope that most of it is going to stay away. Peloton already strung out on these narrow roads. It's a different type of race today than the one we've seen on the flat highways. And these are the riders who've managed to get themselves in the break today. Rider 101 there at the back from ISD Neri is Kreminski. He's joined by Alfonso, Ishibashi, decisive, and Volskans. René Correia yet again in the break. Vitaly Popkov, the time trialist, is there as well. This is Arne van Engelen, just attacking and trying to make things more difficult on the climb. And this is the first move that we've seen from the peloton. First time that anybody's come out and attack. Arne van Engelen, who has been up there. And this is what happened at the first intermediate sprint. This is when we were still on the highway. Cat for Popkov there in the green, giving it a go. René Correia stuck towards the back. And it'll be Volskans, the Latvian, who would be there to take it. Volskans ahead of Popkov. And the former Latvian champion taking the points in bonus seconds. Peloton will follow almost 2 minutes further back, partly controlled by attacking team Gusto, and crucially, St George Merida helping them out. Bit of friendly help there from the Australian teams. Volskans, Popkov, and the Geyser of Novo Nordisk. Well, attacking team Gusto are officially a Taiwanese team, but they've got an Australian heart, an Australian leader. And he's being helped out by these George Merida boys at the minute, trying to control this race and bring home an Australian win. So 56 kilometers to go. It's up and down towards the finish here. 1 minute and 40. It's been a slightly quicker day, as you would expect, certainly, with what's at stake here. Interesting that Nippo Vini Fantini have managed to get a man in the break. They're ready for, if indeed this does come back together. In the meantime, Arne van Engelen just giving it a go on the climb, forcing attacking team Gusto into a bit of work at the front. Van Engelen, the climber, wasn't as high as he should have been up there on the overall general classification. He's running for Peter Schulting. Peter Schulting, who is 6th overall. So Park Hotel Falkenberg maybe have something to play here. 25 seconds back Schulting, and just working, forcing attacking team Gusto to work hard. We're not yet on our final couple of laps. They'll take place once we come past sprint number 2. Through the finish line for the first time. And head out into the countryside. 130 kilometers in total today, by the way. And a sizable break is going to make it hard for attacking team Gusto. You can see, though, main GC teams of Villiers, Delco Marseille and Hangshang. Nobody in the break for them. They're all about making sure that they have men to attack, and we could see a really exciting end of the race today, because Villiers certainly, as a case in point, do have different cards to play. They have Fonzi at 15 seconds, Godoy at 18, as Van Engelen looks as though he's been caught. 70 clicks an hour at the minute on the descent for the breakaway. Afonso, Ishibashi, decisive, Kreminski, Vulskans, Correa, Strupek and Popkov, the riders out there in the break. Screech of brakes on carbon. It's such a shame the sun has gone and hid behind the clouds, because it was a beautiful start to the morning. But you can see that the pressure really is on the Taki Team Gusto here. It is all about the overall general classification. Through the entrance to the national park there. And there's a brief moment where people are anticipating the sprint and maybe not giving their all in the breakaway. That's not really going to help their chances. And I wonder if the GC protagonists might need some help from that man. Stunning sight as they look down over the finish line. Looking down at the list, Ishibashi seems to be the most dangerous to the overall general classification of this particular group out on the road. He's at 2 minutes and 29 seconds. And here comes the second intermediate sprint. So final chance to get some bonus seconds and points for the green jersey. Popkov's giving it a right go in the green jersey there as well. It's difficult to see who's got it. I'm pretty sure that it's Vulskans. The problem there for a few of the riders who thought the finish line was that first bit of tape on the road. Vulskans realised it was a second, pushed on, he won the sprint. And the gap at 1 minute and 45. The interesting thing for these riders now is they must forget personal glory for the minute as they come through the finish line for the first time. And they must now think about working together to stay together. It was that sprint again. Popkov going through the middle. Esteban in the green jersey, the Russian, riding for the Chinese team Livshan. Correa coming round on the right-hand side in the blue, but look at who comes off his wheel. Vulskans there, the former Latvian champion. 2 white lines on the road, however. You notice on the left-hand side, there's a few riders who sort of stop their sprint once they get over that first white line. And then Vulskans realises it's the one a little further on. Vulskans then ahead of Popkov and Strupek, 5, 3 and 1 points. The intermediate sprints and the minor prizes at this Tour of Taihu Lake are done. It's all about the major prize now and the general classification. Well, it's good to see that so far the green jersey, Jakub Anichko, and the rest of the sprinters in the pack have hung on. For another sprinter in the pack, Leo Duque. It is a final day in the professional peloton. There he is on the right-hand side, the blue jersey, about 25th position. They come through the finish line, heading out to take on 2 laps. The next time they reach this bit of road, it's going to be in the opposite direction. And the winner, if it comes from a sprint, well, it should mean that Cameron Bailey's hung on. If it comes from a small group, we could have a change and a new leader and a final different overall winner of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. St George Merida might be owed a few beers this evening if Taki Team Gusto take the win. You're riding to help the Australian in the white and yellow colours to take what would be a first ever general classification victory. He's a previous King of the Mountains, is Cameron Bailey. That was at the Herald Sun Tour just over a year ago. There is Jakub Mareczko. And this is the front of the group. So George Merida helping attacking Team Gusto here. Just keep the break in check. 1 minute and 30 is very good at the moment. You just saw the leader peel off there, Cameron Bailey. It's time for a final chat, final comfort break before all the main work is done. There's Edouard Grossu in on the radio. We're over stage already. Final 50 kilometers is where it's all going to be played out. Look at Giuseppe Fonzi on the left-hand side there, alongside the green jersey. The green jersey, Jakub Mareczko, already suggesting that today would be a day that he will probably work for those who've worked for him this week. Fonzi and Godoy. Fonzi at 15 seconds, Godoy at 18, Duque at 16. The three immediate challengers to Cameron Bailey's lead. Remember, there are 10 bonus seconds on the finish line for the winner of the stage. Wang Mei Ying as well, 5th place at 24 seconds. Do not count him out either. We expect this to be a fast one towards the end of the day. 50 kilometers still to go, bit of climbing to be done, some dangerous descending too, some very tight corners. First of all, they'd have to reel this break in though. For the leaders at the minute for attacking Team Gusto, they'll be pretty happy to let the breakaway go and take this race. If the breakaway takes the stage win, there is no danger. 1 minute and 30. First part of the job is done. They won't want to let the gap get any bigger. That's because the man in the orange and navy blue there is semi-dangerous on the overall 2 minutes and 29. Apart from that, nobody else in the group posing a threat. In fact, I stand corrected. Number 14 there, Murilo Ferraz Afonso, is at 1 minute and 15. So they will need to make sure that they keep this group in check. Just take down the gap a little bit. Ferraz Afonso, the main threat then. Ishibashi also there as well, so 2 riders to look out for. Again, semi-dangerous, more than a minute in what is a tight race, and there's plenty of firepower behind. The good news for attacking Team Gusto here is that the other teams working hard. If they want any chance of winning this race, they have to make sure that they bring back this break. So there will be a stage where other teams have to go to work to bring this back. Attacking Team Gusto will want to keep it at no more than a minute, let's say. That's very doable with 48 kilometers to go here. But the narrower roads, the climbs, and the fact that Attack you've had a ride for a couple of days now might leave the leader a little more isolated. Nick Correa in his 3rd break of the week. That's the record for anybody at this race in this particular week. Mr. Kaiser riding for Novo Nordisk. The riders are heading up on their 2nd climb of the day. Get a first look at how this circuit looks. Correa, in the meantime, needs some food. He's enjoyed himself this week. Last time he was in the break was on stage 2. Was Darcy Ellen Norton's second wheel. The Kiwi rider's been in the breakaway for the last 2 days. And the pace is high here. They're doing well to reduce the gap, 1:15. Getting some good help attacking. Which makes it hard to hold the wheels at the back. Those non-climbers might start to struggle. Delco KTM Marseille having a good job. There's Lucas De Rossi on the left-hand side in the blue Best Young Riders jersey. Today it's about giving all he can for Leo Duque. And let's just have a moment to appreciate Leo Duque as we see the 7 in the break. 36 years of age, the Colombian. He came from the track, a former national champion in the points race and in the scratch race. 12 years as a professional, a Vuelta España stage win. He's ridden for teams such as Cofidis, Team Colombia, and now Delco Marseille Provence for his final year. The only stage race win came 10 years ago, and that was at the Tour de Limousin. He's turned from a sprinter into a road captain and a hard team player. And what a lovely story that on his final day as a bike rider, whether he pulls it off or not, he has a chance to be up there on the podium in the general classification again. He said he's enjoyed his week, enjoyed it being a well-organised race. He's up against 7 riders in the break, trying to hold him off at the moment. There's the Brazilian team, Funvic Sol. They want these motorbikes out the way, understandably so, because they have an outside chance of taking the win in the race here. No wonder they want him out the way. The Funvic Sol team have Murilo Afonso in the break. He's at 1 minute and 15. The gap at 1:20 now. There he is on the left-hand side, Murilo. And of course, if those motorbikes are helping the chase down, that's not helping this breakaway and his chances. And Correa fighting hard. Still a long way to go though. Motorbike or no motorbike, 46 kilometers, plenty of climbs and hungry riders behind. And nice to see some rural areas of China as well on this final day. Ellen Norton tapping away a good rhythm at the front for St George Merida. First time that this team has ridden a 2.1 race, and finding protagonism on the final day. So off into the hills we go. So 45.5 kilometers to go, the gap at 1 minute and 10, and the fireworks still to come. Nice to be on narrow roads, twisty roads. It's this right turn here that will see the riders head up into the hills. Look out for the man at the back. Rider number 14, Murilo Afonso. 1 minute and 15 seconds down in the overall general classification. They've got it down to 110 now, so attacking Team Gusto can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. Still have help from behind, as well as the teammates. Effectively 2 teams working for the leader, who is Cameron Bailey. Said the team were excited today. He's got the names of all of the top 10 riders written down on his stem. That's all the way up to Eduard Grosso at 46 seconds. So if he sees any attacks in the finale, he knows who to follow and who not to. That's if he gets isolated, Cameron Bailey. With one climb to around 200 meters in each of these final 2 loops. There's plenty of scope to attack. A lumpy finale. Great to see the peloton strung out on one long line. It's what we've been missing the last few days. You get more fishing there off to the right. Biking on the road, and we've seen plenty of bike lanes around the city of Jurong. Nice rural areas and quiet roads to ride your bike out here as well. It's as long as you avoid the Whiten Reefs. It's along the side of the road at the minute, drying out after the harvest. It's already a fight for position on these narrow roads, into every twist and turn, into every corner. That's what's going to increase the pace. It's not just the time gap with this breakaway here, it's about positioning, certainly for those 2 climbs. It's just going to speed up the rhythm of the bunch behind. And we're focusing on the man in the white, orange and black there, Murilo Ferraz Afonso. Rider from Brazil, 1 minute and 15 seconds from the overall lead of Cameron Bailey. A bit of a fight to get in the break, and the fact that he's in there is the biggest danger to this attacking Team Gusto behind at the moment. Yeah, the way this race is going from behind, though, you would expect them to be caught at some stage, and another general classification fight from this main group to ensue. Flick of the arm as Ellen Norton comes through. Seen Brody Talbot on the attack as well the last couple of days. There is Rene Correa of Mexico. A funny couple of days for his nation. Time forgetting about everything and enjoying themselves here on the Chinese roads. There is decisive. Full scans coming to the front in the blue. And there's the orange jersey, protected by 2 teams, St George Merida and attacking Team Gusto. St George Merida, an Australian-based team with Australia and Kiwi riders. Taki Team Gusto, a team from Taiwan, but with an Australian heart. They have 1 Taiwanese rider here. We've had a crash and problems in the peloton, in fact, and that's not good news already. That bunching up, it's Meng Jun Tao for Liv Jan Landscape, and this is how he went down. Big bunching of riders as the road got narrower and narrower and narrower. Well, Meng going down. A few riders perhaps just trying to avoid the problem on the right side there as the road narrowed. little bit of earth in the road, and that's it. Narrow roads, quicker peloton, and everybody has to be alert. Jay Dutton out the front. So same 7 in the breakaway. Popkov there in the green. May well have heard a shouting on his radio as his teammate Mung went bound back in the peloton. 1 minute and 10 seconds is the gap. So less than 40 kilometers to go now. St George Merida at the front in the pink and black. Attacky Team Gusto just behind. The orange jersey of Cameron Bailey, 26 years of age, who lives in Adelaide in South Australia. Safely in the bunch. And it is the bunch who wasn't too safe at the back a moment ago. You can see the roads narrowing and we're starting to go uphill. We might see a bit of a thinning out of the group here if a team decides to put the pace on. Minsk on the left-hand side moving up a little. And it does matter, the positioning here, because once riders start to slide, you don't want to be sliding with them at the back. And there is the climb in the distance. And we're not talking Mont Ventoux or Monte Zoncolan here. But it can make a difference. It's not always the parkour that makes the racing, it's how the racers race on it. The breakaway, certainly lighting it up on it at the moment. 38.9 Ks to go, 1 minute and 5 is their advantage as this man on the screen just slips out of the virtual overall lead. Murilo Ferraz Afonso started the day 1 minute and 15 seconds behind the lead of Cameron Bailey. There he is, fourth wheel. Orange jersey. Big day this for Cameron Bailey. Psychologically, as well as what it would bring on the road as a prize. If he knows he can be up there fighting for overall general classification prizes, if he knows he can hold on when under pressure in the leader's jersey, that will do wonders for his confidence. At the age of 26, with a tough Australian Nationals course coming up, you never know what's possible. Had that fall yesterday. Interesting to see if he'd had too many bumps and bruises. He looked pretty okay. A little bit of a tear in the jersey, but I don't think it would have been one of those nights where he'd have been pulling the bed sheets off. A couple of short grazes, but nothing too big. Certainly looks pretty good out there on the bike today as well. This is Vulskans, the former Latvian champion in the meantime for Rietmu Delfin. Right in the middle of the Malshan National 5A class scenic area. Duklabanska riders in the green towards the back. Not been big protagonists this week. They've got themselves in a couple of breaks. I'm very impressed to see how Vilja are riding here. Jakub Mareczko's still in the group on the climb as well. Now, if he survives first time round all the way, he'll certainly start to believe that he can hang on second time. All depends on how those attacks goes, if they go. Remember, there's the descent as well. And as we saw in the Tour de France this year, it's not all about going up, but coming down as well. I'm told there's some pretty technical turns on the way down. How will they influence proceedings? The minute the pace is being kept very, very high by St. George Merida. Not high enough to drop the sprinters just yet, though. Some of them were thinking about hoping that they could hold on. Nicola Marini was one of those. Jakub Marička, the other time, did seem more or less resigned to the fact that he will be working for Fonzi and Godoy, however. The minute he's hanging on pretty well, though. I think they'd swap another stage win for anything else. Many little rest periods on this climb. It's not a constant gradient all the way through. This is the first time that the riders have had a good look at it. So Villiers hit the front. This is the moment, maybe. Time to string them out. And it's those two again. They've been tireless this week. Tedeschi and Draperi. And this is where Attacky Team Gusto are going to be tested. Look, down to 2 men at the front already. Cameron Bailey looking a little more isolated. The St. George Merida boys who've been working so hard suddenly disappear from the front part of the peloton. And the gap goes down just like that by 20 seconds to 55. So a big change in the rhythm at the front, and this is where the GC fight is going to be played out. Suddenly with a gap at 50 seconds, the Brazilian Murillo Ferraz Afonso looks less dangerous. 36 kilometers remain. There's De Keyser at the back. And it really is strung out now. Marička, fair play to him, still in there. And the leader is holding onto the wheel. Right at the back of the group, this is what it looks like now. This is proper bike racing. Narrow roads, and it's a case that if an attack goes away today, out of sight, out of mind, very, very quickly. People will panic, people will worry, and as much as anything, as much of all the physical attributes, it's going to be a test of calmness for Cameron Bailey and how you react under pressure. Look at that, 30 seconds now for the breakaway. Villiers are destroying this lead. I'm not too sure they know too much about it yet up front. There might be the odd director sportif screaming down the radio. We're in the middle of the forest. How far do those signals travel? Look, wheels opening up, gaps opening up all the way through. And this is a good position for Marička to be in at the front, by the way. He has much more of a chance hanging on up here. He must be feeling good today. Look at this. It's the Villiers train to work already. It's as if there was a sprint. The way they're setting up, however, here, I think that Marička is in line to do some work for his team leader, Fonzi, today. Fonzi right on the wheel of Cameron Bailey. Leo Duque, the other man we talked about, retiring today, the Colombian. He's not far away, just 2 wheels further back. So Villiers Southeast might as well have Team Sky jerseys on today. They're riding in that manner. Big train at the front, and here's Godoy. Rafael Andreato hits the front now. The final lead-out man normally for Marička. And each and every attack is being followed. Yonder Godoy, the 23-year-old from Venezuela. And this is completely blowing up now. Green jersey of Marička slipping and sliding further back. And the race all over the hill. René Correia, in the meantime, from the breakaway, pushing on. He wants that most aggressive rider prize. But look behind, the aggression really starting to show. And look who's isolated. Cameron Bailey with just one single teammate left at the front. 34 kilometers to go. And this race is anybody's right now. Oh, beautifully being played out amongst stunning scenery in China. This is the kind of racing that we want. If the Tour of Taihu Lake organisers are listening, this is the spectacle we want to see. And kudos to Rene Correa. I wonder if he'd heard the football school before he got on his bike. I know that Mexico were beating United States 2-1. Leo Duque just behind in the blue, looking around, thinking of a move maybe. Interesting that Godoy on the left-hand side is there, and here goes Duque! Oh, it's his last play of a dice as a professional cyclist. Duque on the left having a go. Nino, his compatriot from Colombia, is there as well. Godoy is following this. Fonzi is the man who's being dropped, and it's the 23-year-old Venezuelan Godoy who's in the fight for the general classification here for Villiers. So, Bailey reacting for the minute. I wonder if Duque's had a little chat with Nino. Duque's really going for it. He knows that he wants to split this up. Even if he doesn't get there on his own, if he arrives in a small group, manages to drop the leader, he is the favourite in any sprint. And look at this, Leo Duque, the track specialist, the sprinter turned road captain on his final day as a professional bike rider, dropping riders on the mountain. 36 years of age, all of those miles on the clock, and he really is having a good day. Duque then, on the attack. Addio. Ciao. Manechko's dropped. We will not be seeing him sprint out a win at the end of today. We will not be seeing a bunch sprint of any kind today. We may well see a reduced sprint. We could even see a lone winner. It has been that exciting. Attack still going from the front in the meantime. Yonder Godoy, he's having a right old go. This is Duque. Duque, the Colombian naturalized Frenchman. Well, he's nothing left to hold back, because this is the last day. 10 years since he took a general classification win. First year as a professional with Cofidis, that was. And if he can bookend it with another here, why not? Beautiful. They have to take this climb on, though, one more time just yet. Duque then on the descent. It's here as a sprinter and a really experienced man in the peloton, he can make the difference. It's twisty, it's turny. How much does he know about it? That's the question. How many risks can he take? Meantime, the Tour of Taihu Lake is stunning. So Yonder Godoy rode the Giro d'Italia as a youngster. It's had an interesting day. It is Yonder Godoy, not Giuseppe Fonzi on the counter-attack there. Fonzi a little bit further back in the chasing group, so Villiers have played this really well. Godoy, the Venezuelan, and fair play to Cameron Bailey, isolated but responding well, as is Lucas de Rossi as well, the Frenchman, the best young rider. And that's good news for Leo Duque, because if this group comes back together, Duque will have a rest. A chance to take a sprint, but realistically, if he wants to take the overall, he has to drop Cameron Bailey. Now he wants to get involved, and he wants De Rossi to work for him. Straight onto the front of this group. It is all happening at the Tour of Taihu Lake. Leo Duque on the attack. He's since been joined by Yonder Godoy of Villiers Southeast. Currently fourth in the overall general classification. Duque himself third. And the leader, crucially, Cameron Bailey, there defending. with second-placed Fonzi not too far away behind. Lucas De Rossi is the man in the blue jersey at the front, all working together to try and put some distance into those behind. Duque, experienced as he is at the minute, 12 years as a pro, his last ever day as a bike rider in a professional peloton, shakes his head a little unhappy but says, let's save energy and knock it off for now. There is one more climb still to go. But as that happens, straight away a counter-attack, and this, I think, is Giuseppe Fonzi. Fonzi straight through. So it was Godoy first, Fonzi this time, and we're seeing some proper action. Interesting that Grossu's got involved. He's dangerous, very dangerous too for the overall general classification. Bit of a sprinter as well. Adna van Engelen is on the attack, and this time there is one of the Attacky Team Gusto teammates of Cameron Bailey involved as well. Bailey himself wants to close the gap here, wants to get on his teammate's wheel, have a chance to rest. 30.2 kilometers to go, and there are so many permutations still of this race. Look at Wang Meiyin, who's made his way back too. Chinese rider riding his penultimate race for the Hengsheng team before he goes to Bahrain and the World Tour. Wow, so many different permutations possible. 30 kilometers and inside the last 30 now. Approaching the second of 2 laps. That climb that we've seen again. And this is some top stuff from Marseille KTM. Thomas Vaubourget, who's been out there earlier on this week in the attack, and I think it was stage 1 proper, wasn't it? Thomas Vaubourget. Was the most combative rider on stage 1. This little group at the front will just calm things down maybe if it goes away and stays away for the next 2 or 3 kilometers. But once we hit that climb again, those riders out in front will know that it is the last chance to make any big differences. Correia, who was in the breakaways in this group, Villiers still well represented. There's the orange jersey of the leader, Cameron Bailey. Now, how much has that last little lap taken out of him? A little nervous look across there to the camera. Really needs to be concentrating on the road. There's Ishibashi. What's in the original breakaway? Remember, this is also a possible winner of the overall general classification. Started in 5th place. 25 seconds from the lead, Wang Meiyin. Rider with 14 on the back now, no longer a danger. Ferraz Afonso, and 15 seconds as Popkov tries to come across. Interesting that there's no southeast rider in this attempt to break away. You'd think that tactically it'd be good to get a man in this group. Instead, I think they're choosing for the shut it down option. Riding on the front, trying to make sure that no groups go away. Now then, there's nobody left from St George Merida. There is one rider left from Attacky Team Gusto. Apart from that, Cameron Bailey is all on his own. A huge test of his mettle here. The minute he survived very well. He followed those attacks, absolutely brilliant on the first lap. Remember, he's up against 2 or 3 teams who operate at the division above, professional continental level. In the meantime, this has been a job really well done so far by Rafael Andreato. Radioing in for Villiers Southeast. Andreato with 41 on his back, looking out for 46 Godoy, the Venezuelan, and 43 Fonzi, who lies in 2nd place overall at the minute, the Italian. This group is going to come back together because Andreato, who's so good in the lead-outs normally, has been brilliant in pulling this back. And Schulting's presence in there was a difficult one as well, and a reason they needed to bring it back because he's in 6th place overall at the minute, the Dutchman. Fonzi lies 2nd wheel, just on the right-hand side, arms tight to the bars. 61 on your screen is Halmuratov, the Uzbek rider. Nino pulled in on the left-hand side. And Andreato really is putting other riders under pressure. Funvik Sol have 3 men there. And of course, their most dangerous rider who was out in the breakaway. So the attacks keep coming. Tour of Taihu Lake. So there it is in the distance. A lovely windy road again that's caused so much problem. Fonzie giving it a go. He's trying to use the descent here to make a difference. I think he's been watching Chris Froome. I think your mind's back to July and Bagnères de Luchon. It's not quite the Pyrenees, but this is a very decent effort from Giuseppe Fonzi, and Vili are riding a fantastic race here. Tactically, absolutely brilliant, and they can afford to do so. They have Fonzi in second place at 14 seconds. They have Godoy in fourth place at 16 seconds. They have options. Man following him from Ataki Team Gusto, just trying to keep this under wraps. Of course, when you get to the finish line, those 10 bonus seconds mean that, well, in Fonzi's case, he'd only need a 14-second advantage on the peloton. A 4-second advantage, pardon me, on the peloton, once you do the maths. Obviously, listen to that last phrase, my maths aren't very good at the moment, but we'll get there. Fonzie working hard. You can see how low he's getting here. He's getting so low you can do the entire frame of the rider behind him. There's Nino in the pink, Schulting with him. Delco Marseille using Lucas De Rossi to do the chasing. Andreatta just trying to hang on here. You might be able to give something a little bit more back. That's by the time they get to the climb again. The fact that Delco are chasing on here is not only helping their own possibilities, but as a consequence helping the leader as well, Cameron Bailey. But you can understand why they're doing it. They have to chase this. They have to get Leo Duque into a position where he can attack. Otherwise, he's the one that stands to lose. It's Vaubourget at the front helping out. Duque conserving energy behind in the group. There he is, fourth wheel. Looks as though they've co-opted a little bit of help as well. Approaching the last 25 kilometers at the final stage of the Tour of Taihu Lake. This has been a super move on the descent, in fact, from Giuseppe Fonzi. Fonzi out there with Ben Hill. Ben Hill, who did a great job in the breakaway a couple of days ago, mopping up bonus seconds, and he really is helping out his teammate here, Cameron Bailey, just sitting on the back, not doing any work, not doing any turns. Fonzi, second overall in the overall general classification, with a climb to go, trying to make the difference on the descent. He's had some good results recently. He was in the top 16 overall at the Tour of Hainan. He rode the whole of the Tour of Qinghai Lake and has ridden many a day on his bike. 68 days of competition this year for Fonzi. 10,500 kilometers competitively. That's not including the thousands and thousands of kilometers done in training extra as well. It's been a long, long season for Giuseppe Fonzi, but shakes his head. He knows he's going to be caught here. Delco Marseille have done the chasing and the catching. Lucas De Rossi there, the young French rider who's come from mountain biking. And here we go, second lap and heading up to the climb again. 24.5 kilometers to go. Now this group's got away, the pace has slowed a little. may well do until the next attacks go again. There is Leo Duque on the left-hand side. Last day as a professional bike rider, looks around, sees what others are doing, as Nino on the left-hand side has a go. 43 years of age. He was followed quickly as well by Eduard Grossu. Grossu is a man who stands to gain if he gets in a move. He's a very quick sprinter. We saw him winning a flat sprint stage the other day against Marechko. And there is Leo Duque. He's talking to the Colombians and other teams here, trying to get some help. On the way back, a quick chat. And there's Giuseppe Fonzi, rival of his for the moment. Wang Mei-ying towards the back of this group as well. Duque to me starting to look a little tired. I wonder if that is his goodbye to the cameras in professional cycling. We shall see. Does he have something left to give? I think he may well have just been having a look at who's there, what is still left. Moves up on the left-hand side again. He knows how to play this. There he is, moving up once more. Don't want to waste too much energy. In fact, he's looking for the leader. Cameron Bailey on the left-hand side in the orange. And he's going to stick to the leader like glue right now. The aim of the game here for Delco Marseille-Provence will be to try and get Vauxbourg just to whittle this group down. Weed out the deadwood with the 22.2 kilometers still to go. And then when there are a few less there, attack. Godoy is still there and he's a danger. Venezuela, much like Colombia, known for producing great climbers. For Godoy himself, it's been a long year. He started at the Vuelta al Táchira, which is a Venezuelan race, back in January. He's ridden in places such as Morocco, Azerbaijan, heavily in China as well. He's had a jet-set year, as Yonder Godoy. Still only 23, and he does seem to have been around for a long time. Used to ride for Gianni Savio's team, Swiss Tony's team, Andron Giocattoli. He has ridden the Giro d'Italia with them. Now finds himself in a better funded team at Villiers Southeast. Godoy looking around, wondering as to what the plan is. And Villiers, after doing all that work, have to be careful here. They don't want to let it all go to waste. Once they get onto those difficult sections again, they'll have to make it count as Grossu looks around and surveys the damage. Is he trying to summon Ishibashi to the front again to work? Meantime, Godon talks to Fonzi. Bailey still in the center of this group. We wait for the road to rise up again. So it rises in stages. As we get to the top, there are those technical turns, and then the run-in will be fast. It's mostly downhill. So a brief cessation of hostilities. So Vauxbourg at the front. Ben Hill doing a great job. Really has survived to help Cameron Bailey. You can just see the riders losing wheels now as we go uphill. The gradient increases again. It's in these snaky roads through the forest that we saw the action last time. Correa on the left-hand side in the blue doing well to hang on, having been in the break for the third time this week. And Vauxbourg is putting the hurt on here. Just tapping out a strong rhythm. Remember, he's not thinking of the end. For those of you who might be new to bike racing, he's just thinking of the next kilometre or two, riding hard as he can. He's all the time in the world to get to the finish. It's his teammate Anduke who he's riding for. He's in about 6th position in the blue and white jersey there, with a number 5 on his back. And this rhythm is having an effect. They're slipping and sliding all around the leader. Leader in the orange jersey, remember, Cameron Bailey, the 26-year-old from Adelaide in Australia. If you're looking for Cameron Bailey, he's in the orange jersey, easily identifiable, even more so because he's surrounded by the fluorescent jerseys of Southeast. Villiers Southeast. Less than 20 Ks to go now. Stage 7, day 8, the final day of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. What are we down to here? 25 riders maximum. Not too much more. There was some doubt as to whether the sprinters would hang on today. The rhythm applied on the first climb showed us very quickly that that would not be the case. And it was one of the sprinters teams who decided that, in fact, with Villiers Southeast changing the rhythm. Game peloton heavily strung out here on these brief sections of rest. Is there anything left in the legs for Leo Duque, Giuseppe Fonzi, Yonder Godoy to really stick it to Cameron Bailey? As it stands, whether Bailey gets up there towards the end of the stage or not, if he can stay in the group, he's won the race. Simple as that. Once things start to split up, that's where heart will be in mouth. Change onto a slightly different road surface. The second and more difficult part of the climb is approaching. A little look behind there from Adnan van Engelen. He'll be working for Peter Schulting today. Schulting starting the day in 6th place. Remember, for each and every one of these riders, it's not necessarily about making sure they can win, but just moving up in places. UCI points all count. Help the team, help the rider. Points and prizes often mean contracts, and in the precarious world of professional cycling, having a job isn't necessarily the worst thing that can happen. It's making sure you're employed first and foremost for the next year, certainly at this level. Great turn this from Thomas Vauborze. Little bit of movement, and here comes Andreato again, just as we saw on the last lap. Ushers have come on to Yonder Godoy, and I think we're going to see the Venezuelan the first to attack. So there is Andreato, 41 on the left-hand side. He's the Brazilian rider, normally the lead-out man for Jaco Mareczko, and he's putting Godoy into position. Godoy on the right-hand side, second of the two riders with the fluorescent sleeves. Godoy is the climber in this team, 4th overall before today. He has 16 seconds to make up on the leader, and it's a big attack now. Bailey reacting, but only keeping the wheel. And Leo Duque is not happy with his teammate. He wants Lucas De Rossi in front of him and helping. He also wants the leader to do some chasing here. Duque trying to be clever, trying to save some sort of energy for the end. Bailey straight onto the wheel of Godoy. Duque with him. And these are the top 3. So Godoy started the day in 4th, second wheel in the orange. Leader makes sure he covers the first attack and does well. Duque behind, 3rd at the start of the day, hoping to move up. Schulting trying to close the gap. There's Victor Niño Corredor, who just will not give up in the pink and black. Does Duque have anything? And it's a lot of watching, waiting. Remember, Bailey doesn't have to attack here. It's defending for him. Wong Mei-in the meantime is one of the riders who's dropped, trying to hold on to his 5th place in the overall general classification, but in the meantime it's pretty sure now, as long as he stays on his bike, he will be the red jersey at the end of this race, the best Chinese rider. Well, Duque takes it up at the front here. Corredor at the front to help him, and in the green jersey, that's Peter Schulting. And here goes Godoy. Yonder Godoy on the attack. Who's going to follow this? And I think Duque will be a little clever here, and he will make Bailey do the closing down. That is the case. As he should do, because Bailey is the man whose immediate lead is threatened. 10 bonus seconds, remember, for winning the stage today. 16.8 kilometers to go. Once we get to the top here, it's a technical descent and a false flat downhill run into the finish. We're not far away from the top either. .5 kilometers to go. There are bonus seconds, as I said. 10, 6 and 4 for first, second and third. Godoy attacks once more. Don't have too much of a difference on the peloton behind. Bailey, as long as he monitors these attacks, finishes in the top 3, picks up a handful of seconds as well. He will be the champion of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. Meantime, Wang Meiying forced to do some attacking behind. I wonder if Vincenzo Nibali sat at home watching this on the television. I know he's out training, and bizarrely, out training with a man who he was supposed to not get on with in Astana, Fabio Aru. Both out on the road together in Switzerland yesterday. They will be rivals next year. Perhaps now they will be rivals. They can be friends off the bike. Who knows? Duque to take it on again on the descent, just as he did the last time around. This is looking better and better and better for Cameron Bailey now. He survived the worst of this climb. He'll be hoping he's eaten and drunk correctly and properly throughout the day. Good news is it's not the longest stage. This is just 130 kilometers. Oh, and pit problems. Oh, big problems for Cameron Bailey. Big problems for Cameron Bailey. Looked as though he was about to come off. Has he managed to hold it up? 15 kilometers to go. You can see Bailey's leg out the pedal, trying to balance things. And after all of that work on the descent, has he been able to stay on his bike? Bailey climbs so well. He covered the attacks, and it is going downhill where he's put himself in trouble. If he's come off there, then that could be that. Let's have a look at the front of this group. Cameron Bailey is not there. Cameron Bailey is not in the front few positions of this group. And Cameron Bailey has a big problem. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. A crash 24 hours ago, a crash on the final stage. Heartbreak for Cameron Bailey, needs a new back wheel. Is there time to get on here? Now this is what happened, and it's a misjudge of the corner. Is there something slippy on the road? Because you can see Godoy just in front, had to correct his line. Duque took it a little wider, Bailey coming off. Thankfully he's okay, but can he pull off the ride of his life here to reconnect with the front group and hold on to the lead? I think it's touch and go. This would require some courageous riding, and he needs help, that is for sure. Shakes his head again. Oh, psychologically, what does that mean for him going forward? So, you're looking at the new leader of the race on the road, Leo Duque, because Fonzi, a little further back, is just 1 second back. If Duque carries this home, then he will end his professional career with a GC victory, just as he started it in 2016 when riding, 2006, pardon me, riding for Cofidis. A look behind. Fonzi, having Godoy there, isn't going to chase his own man down. Bailey, third group on the road, shakes his head, cannot believe this. He's on his own bike again, has a new back wheel. Doesn't seem to have made an awful mess of himself, looking at him. And that's good news, but if you look behind at the cars, he's nowhere to be seen. In the meantime, Yonder Godoy on the right-hand side of Venezuela, Leo Duque on the left-hand side of Colombia, out there and looking to take the Tour of Taihu Lake between them. And they find themselves in a bizarre situation here. Tell me, in which other sport do two rivals who are about to fight it out for the victory have to work together as a team to even get the chance to do so? The beauty of cycling on the roads of China. Attack out of the chasing group. Wong is trying to be piloted into position, perhaps seeing a podium position overall. Leo Duque in the blue, you would expect to be quicker than Yonder Godoy. However, Godoy is no slouch for a climber. He's been involved in the lead-out train for Madechko this week. He has also been a previous national time trial champion of Venezuela. Godoy, however, has just one career win. Duque has taken 8 along the way and many placings in the sprint. So, René Correia there having a chat. He's got Popkov to work for him. That could be a nice ally. Cameron Bailey, Popkov is a good time trialist. Be looking to get back onto this group and hoping that somebody from this group chases down the lead. Still 12.2 kilometers to go. You really do have to feel for Cameron Bailey. Leo Duque stands to lead, stands to gain. He's chosen to go over the skin suit for his final day in competition. He knew it would be a fast one today. No stranger to the cold conditions as well, coming from Colombia. 30 seconds they have already on the chasers. Wow. 11.8 kilometers to go. Interesting that Fonzi's on the back of this group as well. Villiers in a great position overall, but can they take the lead? Now, if Villiers had Fonzi and not Godoy in front, that would be even better position for them, because Godoy a second behind Duque in the overall, Fonzi a second in front. But they're covered well. So 30 seconds to this group, 1 minute 10 to Cameron Bailey. That's a big chase on your own to make. Well, if Cameron Bailey is to win the Tour of Taihu Lake, it will be a miracle from here on in. Bailey looks to have lost it on the crash, as long as these two do not start to play silly beggars. There's no error of communication. Colombian, Spanish, Venezuelan, Spanish, pretty similar. There's no chance that they won't be understanding each other. So this is the second group on the road. Riders all over the place. And this, I really sincerely hope that this is a stage that's going to be repeated on the Tour of Taihu Lake. Not too difficult, it's not a big mountain, but just enough to keep everybody involved. Sprinters, one-day riders, pure climbers, and now time trialists to the finish. 10.8 kilometers to go. Duque and Godoy working hard to try and maintain their gap. They have 30 seconds on the next group, but the second group coming along here is an interesting one. Nino is there, and I think that may be Schulting as well. No immediate danger to these two, as long as no more gaps open. You'd still fancy Duque in a sprint from this group. And if he didn't win, he'd be kicking his head though there. What does he have left? So Jurong, the southeast gate to Nanjing, the Yangtze River to its north, Zhenjiang to its east. It's now the new eastern suburb of Nanjing, according to town planning. It's also known as the Jinling Imperial Garden. Population of 618,000, and it's its beautiful, traditional, and even ancient scenery that looks down on today's race route. It's provided this fantastic backdrop. The Maoshan National Park. 9.4 kilometers to go.
Rotten.
And they've gone ahead and they're really giving it their all again. Leo Duque in the blue, as it stands to be the winner. Yonder Godoy won't come through and do a turn now. He knows he'll be beaten in a sprint. In the meantime, Cameron Bailey's looking for allies. If you've gone away and made a cup of tea and missed the crash, you have missed how this race has been played out, because Cameron Bailey came off on the descent. He is about a minute and 10 seconds behind. And as it stands, he's on his way to losing. Correa just gives him a little bit of a helping hand. Bailey has to fight for his life here. 9Ks to go. Wong Mei Yin is chasing on. Vili are in a good position, although not in the lead. They have Fonzie in the group chasing on, and they have Godoy sitting on at the front. Leo Duque being made to ride and ride and ride. And of course, he's going to think maybe about not giving his all. 17 seconds is the gap here. This car's going to get pulled out of the gap if they're not careful. Try to coax through Godoy. Interesting that the team cars are allowed up. Godoy ushered to the front. This time he will take his turn as Duque will go to his car. Now they know that the gap is reducing. Godoy is starting to work. Again, it depended upon how much messing about they were going to do. In the meantime, Bailey, because of this messing about, is back to within a minute. So much drama on the road here. Bailey in the orange jersey, remember. Can he get some help from these men who are with him? If he can get some help from the man in the green, that would be of great service. Vitaly Popkov. 8.1 kilometers still to go. Leo Duque in the blue. Last day as a professional bike rider and all the protagonism. Even if he doesn't win here, this is dream stuff. Yonder Godoy with him in the red of Southeast. Fluorescent sleeves of what was the yellow flow team. Now Villiers Southeast. 7.5 Ks to go, and this group builds its advantage again. Back over that bridge and back towards today's finish. And this is the damage that Bailey's done. In the grand scheme of things and how it was on the descent, it could have been a lot worse. Pretty sure he's much more disappointed and much more angry about the race situation rather than those bumps and bruises at the minute. Misjudgment on the descent has led to him probably losing out on the race here. Duque is the virtual leader. As it stood today, Cameron Bailey led by 15 seconds ahead of Giuseppe Fonzi. He led by 16 ahead of Leo Duque, 18 ahead of Yonder Godoy. Minute 20 back to Bailey now. It is done and dusted. I'm afraid it is over as far as the Australian is concerned. So Duque again at the front. What's happening here? Godoy, oh well. Come and join us, Duque says, we want some help. Well, Mauricio Ortega is 1:52 there. He's at 35 seconds overall. He's in the pink and black. Fellow Colombian. And 1:34 there is Peter Schulting. Schulting at 25 seconds. Now this is a much better scenario for Leo Duque, because with bonus seconds in the mix, if both he and Godoy came to the finish line and Duque for some reason wasn't able to win the sprint, 10, 6 and 4, let's concentrate on the 10 and 6 for first and second. There's a 4-second difference there, and even though he finished second, he would still lose by 2 seconds. There's much more of a chance of things going wrong for Godoy in a 4-man group. And of course, Duque would still be the favourite to win the sprint. Here he can get everybody organised a little bit more. Again with 3 Spanish speakers too. 28 seconds of a gap to the next group. Schulting at the back stands to gain quite a lot as well. He could end up on the podium today. Started the day in 6th place at 25 seconds. As it stands, the podium would be Duque, Godoy, Schulting and Ortega. Mauricio Ortega Ramirez is the man on the left-hand side there in the pink. Both he and Nino have attacked. Duque is the only man who's really dressed for a sprint here. Skin suit on, aero helmet. Surely it would be his day. Ortega just sitting on at the back. 5 kilometers to go. Everybody still pulling their weight, just about. In the meantime, if you're tuning in late, bad news for Cameron Bailey. He crashed on the descent, and although he's back on his bike, it looks as though the general classification fight is over for him. Look at this now, 45 seconds just to the second group. At the last count, Bailey was 120 behind. Stage winner should come from this group at the front. And they can see the stage area up ahead. It's a straightish road into the finish now. Not just one victory for Yonder Godoy in his career. He's a promising stage racer at the age of 23. Can time trial, can ride on the flat, he can certainly climb. Duque, much more of a sprinter, who's added climbing to his repertoire towards the end of his career as he's lost a little bit of that top-end speed. A talented track racer at the start of his career, the man from Cali. And Peter Schulting at the back here, riding for Park Hotel Falkenberg, with 4 kilometers to go. Gap at 45 seconds. But behind there from Godoy. Who's going to be able to take this then? Ortega just being pushed in to do his turn. And the politics of this group just as important as everything else at the moment, as Godoy's sitting on and try to save energy. It was his team who've made the moves. Duque who followed. Ortega then finally at the front here. Desperately trying to get those motorbikes out the way at the back. A couple of the riders unhappy. Duque pushing on. Looks as though Ortega may be struggling just to hold the wheel here. Duque's turn, big enough just to distance Ortega. Looks around, surveys the damage. I wonder if that group is gaining behind him, we don't know about it. 3 kilometers to go in the meantime. In the race is Peter Schulting of Netherlands, riding for Park Hotel Valkenburg. Second in the fluorescent red and black jersey, Yonder Godoy of Venezuela and Villiers Southeast. In the blue there, riding his final 2.5 kilometers of a professional cyclist, it's Leo Duque of Colombia and Delco Marseille Provence. And in the pink and black, number 152 with the pink cap on and black helmet there, it is Mauricio Ortega Ramirez. All of these 4 riders are in the top 8 in the overall general classification. Ramirez started the day 8th at 35 seconds. Schulting started the day 6th at 25 seconds. Godoy there started the day 4th at 18 seconds. Duque was 3rd, 16 back from Cameron Bailey, who has fallen off his bike and looks to be out of the running. So 20 seconds here, and no wonder that Duque was so angry about the motorcycles and cars being close behind. Ortega can't hold the wheel, just struggling. Looks as though he might well be the weakest towards the end. 2 kilometers to go. They have to keep riding, can't look at each other too much yet, just to assure themselves of a chance to fight it out between each other. Duque trying to usher Godoy to the front. They look behind, saying we've got to work together. We've got to keep going. Fine, you're not going to work? We're not involved. Duque's good, very good indeed at playing the psychological game. He should do. He's been around for a long time. 36 years of age. So 1.5 kilometers to go. Shooting at the front. Ortega in the pink second. This is Duque in the blue on the right-hand side. It's a long, wide road here. A little bit of a rise, then it's downhill towards the finish. Godoy desperately trying to hold the wheel. Duque's the man who has the power. There's confirmation that Cameron Bailey is completely out of the game still. He is not getting back on. Cameron Bailey may well struggle to finish in the top 10 here. 1 minute and 40 behind in the general classification. Flamme Rouge. So 1 kilometer to go. Ortega at the front, Duque behind him, virtual leader on the road. Godoy in third wheel, just 2 seconds behind Leo Duque, and that's Peder Schulting, who started 6th place, also in the top 10 today. Leader at the start of the day has crashed. He's back on his bike, but he's out of the game. Cameron Bailey will not be taking his first GC win at the Tour of Taihu Lake. There is trouble behind with Wang Meiying gaining. Giuseppe Fonzi is there as well. It's been nearly 3 hours of a cracking, entertaining stage. Leo Duque really needs to take the win here with Yonder Godoy in this group, unless Godoy is going to finish outside the top 2 places. Duque has to finish ahead of him, simple as that. Now Ortega going to the front. This is what Duque will want, chance to get on a wheel. Into the final couple of 100 meters pretty soon. And there are the boards. So here we go. Ortega at the front, Duque behind. Godoy's going to watch him like a hawk. 200 meters to go. Duque is going to be the quickest to the line if he can go, but he's not got a wheel to come off. Duque hitting the front. Can he win his final day as a bike rider? Duque is there with Schulting on the left-hand side. He's got to hold it to the finish, though. There is Duque. He does it. He takes the win. And Leo Duque, on his final day in the professional saddle, has won and taken the overall. Absolutely magnificent from the Colombian. So Duque takes the win. There's congratulation overall. Godoy was there as well. And Leo Duque, a winner at the Tour of Taihu Lake. In the meantime, Cameron Bailey, well, how will he assess this? Has to get over the line first, but it's all about trying to stay in the top 10, which could be a difficult task. There are riders who stand in to win, riders who stand to lose out, and well, one of them is Cameron Bailey. In the orange there, he'll be forced to see that jersey. There'll be no podium ceremony for him today. Just 500 meters from the finish. He's going to finish well over a minute and a half down. So Bailey to finish in orange, but I'm afraid he won't be on the podium in orange. It was a great job, well done from attacking Team Gusto right to the final laps. Bailey himself covered the attacks well, but it's on the descent he's let it go. 1:48 down on the day. Pat on the back, consolation there from René Correia. And Bailey, who fought hard all week, has lost out at the end of it. That's a nice moment, but also a very disappointing one for Cameron Bailey. Thanks those he was riding with for their effort. Bailey, though, has some disappointment to accept. So Leo Duque takes the honours on the final day of the Tour of Taihu Lake 2016. So this is the atmosphere at the finish line. Yondor Godoy gave us all a little bit of an argument there with Leo Duque as well. Who did what? Who did where? When did they do it? Yondor Godoy goes off with his soigneur. In the meantime, there's a Colombian conference on the line. So Leo Duque celebrating. And for Giuseppe Fonzi, a bit of disappointment in the end from Villa Triestina Southeast. They had two great tactical cards to play. And they just didn't play them the right way. On the right-hand side, you can see Leo Duque being chased down by Tim Often there, our reporter. And it's in those hills where the drama has been played out today. Duque, the victor of the stage and the overall. What a way to finish the career. So coming up, the full final results, and of course those podium ceremonies as well. Tour of Taihu Lake 2016, the final stage has been won by Leo Duque. It looks as though we may be able to hear from him straight away as well. Here is the winner. What a way to end your career. Over to you, Leo Duque, who's with Tim Often.
Leonardo Duque, what a way to finish your career. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's a great final, great ending. Last series. And of course we've won the stage and we've won the overall.
It's a bit of a shame about the way Cameron had a crash and stuff like that, but did you feel good all the way through? How were the legs?
Well, we attacked on the lap before, and I think we didn't really know. We think it's behind us in the descent that he went off. But yeah, it's a shame for him. But well, we were there already at the front.
Many congratulations. Thank you.
So Leo Duque, the winner. Of course, the racing already on once Cameron Bailey had gone off his bike, so no question that there was going to be any waiting around for the leader. Leo Duque just clarifying that. And Leo Duque at the top of the tree. This is how it was won. Duque in second wheel there. He had Ortega in front of him, his fellow Colombian. Godoy doing a lot of wheel sucking towards the end. Duque not too happy with the Venezuelan for a while. He had to be consoled towards the end. Schulting in the light green jersey too, as they came towards the advertising hoardings in the final few hundred meters. It was Duque who was forced to lead it out from the front. So Ortega went. Duque found his wheel. Ortega out, acting as makeshift lead-out man, really, in the end, when you look at this. Duque coming around. Still not launching his sprint, really. 200 meters to go, less than 200. And once Schulting went, Duque no, he had to try and keep that position. It was a tough fight for the line. And Duque had it. Schulting second, Godoy third. The Dutchman disappointed, and a Colombian taking a superb win. Not a bad way to finish the career. And that's how they approached on the downhill as well. There's a tricky sprint, really. Not an easy one to be led out with a chasing group behind as well. Godoy disappointed with himself. Didn't really work out for the team. Duque, the expert, staying right where he was through the middle, quicker than everybody else. So Leo Duque beating Peter Schulting and Yonder Godoy to the stage win. Ortega 2 seconds behind. Wang Mei-yin finishing in 5th place. Halmuratov, Van Luck, Fonzi, Kasyanov and Prus all making up the top 10. Duque the winner. And that means that Duque wins the Tour of Taihu Lake by 7 seconds from Yonder Godoy. Shooting up onto the podium in 3rd place. Fonzi dropping to 4th. Wang conserving his 5th place. And the leader at the start of the day, Bailey, out of the top 10.
Cameron, so what happened on the descent? Can you talk me through it?
Just corner caught me out by surprise, and I couldn't brake in time. And I tried to hold it up, and I thought I was going to hold it up there, and just didn't quite make it, and straight into a tree. I'm embarrassed, and I'm absolutely devastated. I haven't crashed in like 3 years or more. Don't think I've ever crashed my own doing. I usually pride myself on how I can handle a bike, and yeah, I'm absolutely devastated. It's so frustrating, but it's what it is. I did everything else perfect. I believe I was the strongest in this race, and it's just so frustrating that I don't have anything to show for it. So.
Was the bike damage in the crash as well? Was that part of the problem? You couldn't get back on your own bike, you had to wait for your guy to come up?
Yeah, I had a flat tyre, and luckily Ben wasn't too far behind, and he gave me his wheel, but it was too late, and I tried chasing, but I was in a lot of pain, and I could sit down and pedal all right, but as soon as I got out of the saddle, I was in a lot of pain. Yeah, just I don't know, not much else I can say. I'm just pretty devastated. Yeah.
But you should be very proud of what you've done. Congratulations,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Oh, clearly distraught Cameron Bailey there after he lost the GC lead and dropped out of the top 10 altogether. The Tour of Taihu Lake in the end won by Leo Duque. So this is seen at the finish, the grand finale of the Tour of Taihu Lake. Riders still coming across the line. Gruppetto coming home probably in the next few minutes or so. Be waiting for that green jersey of Jakub Mareczko and the rest. And the Ataki Team Gusto riders, as well as those Merida, St George Merida riders who try to help Cameron Bailey today, will be absolutely disappointed. Of course, they did a great job. Bailey saying he was embarrassed after all the work that was done for him. And a badly taken corner has cost him the overall win, pardon me. And he was probably right. The way he covered those attacks, he looked like he was the strongest rider in the race. Of course, luck and skill also plays a part. There's physical condition. Big presentation on its way. For the rest of the jerseys, we'll have to wait until the main group comes across the line. Leo Duque, though, been on the podium and second, in third position on a couple of occasions. He was fourth yesterday. His consistency throughout the week and the fact he was second on the mountain stage has certainly put him into a great position here. Able to win the sprint, win the stage and leader's jersey on the last day. Well, can't get more perfect than that. Long time since that Tour du Limousin in 2006. His only other stage race win at the Tour of Taihu Lake has brought him win number 2 in a stage race at the end of the career, and that will see him close off his career with a nice round 10 wins as well. So good win for him, good win and good points for Delcourt Marseille as well. And in just a couple of minutes' time, we'll see it all play out and celebrated right on the podium in front of us. The Tour of Taihu Lake is all ready for the final celebration. Leo Duque took the last stage, stage 7 on the road, day 8 with the prologue involved as well. Just under 3 hours of racing for him to beat Peter Schulting and Yonder Godoy to the sprint win. And that meant with the bonus seconds as well, Duque winning the overall general classification, beating Godoy by 7 seconds, Schulting up to third, Marechko winning the points classification with Duque third in that competition as well. Marechko walking off with the green jersey. As far as the best Chinese rider concerned, Wang Meiyin won that by a comfortable margin. Over a minute from Ronald Young. And Lucas De Rossi there to win the overall youth classification. So despite the fact they had 4 riders for most of the week, an excellent week for Delcourt Marseille Provence. 2 of the main jerseys then for the French team. And we await those jerseys being awarded. It's been a great 8 days. Starting off with that prologue in Wuxi, we've had variable weather conditions, varied terrain too, certainly on this final stage. And this is the sort of racing we really want to see in Taihu Lake. Really hope that the organisers take note and repeat this stage yet again. This was the moment that Leo Duque's career ended, and ended with a win. Victory in the sprint, disappointment for those rivals he beat, but delight for the veteran Colombian. Jakub Marechko then takes the green jersey.
Jakub, congratulations, mission accomplished.
Yeah, today I take the green jersey to the end of this tour, and I'm very happy for this.
And for the team as well, it was a very exciting day. 2 men up the road, 1 man on the podium now. What was the plan going in?
Yeah, today we try to stay in front for Godoy and Fonzi to take the lead jersey, but Godoy take the first place and we are in front, but at the moment I don't know the classification, and we are all happy for this.
And for you, what does it mean to come back here and to win again? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, this is very good for me and for my team that we work hard in this day, and we take a good job to arrive to the sprint.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
So Jakob Marecko, a very, very happy man. Happy for his team, happy for the stage wins, and of course the overall podium that Godoy managed to put out, as well as that green jersey that he's taken home for the 2nd successive year. Well, stage 7 ends under cloudy skies. But after a very, very entertaining race, we had loads of drama, plenty happening on there. And this is the moment that it all ended. Deary me. As that left leg swung out as he tried to balance the bike. Problem, flat tyre. Ben Hill managed to reach him. It was a very quick change, but of course a back wheel change always takes that bit longer. Hard work for the director of Sportif, and all the time the knowledge that it was going to be a difficult one for Cameron Bailey. He tried to pedal, he was okay in the saddle, out of the saddle. He was hurting from that fall, and he was never going to catch these guys up the front with the opportunity they had to take stage and, of course, overall victory. He did give everything there, Cameron Bailey. After being the strongest, covering the attacks on the hill, it was on the descent that he let it go. With those injuries, out of the saddle was hard work for him. Cameron Bailey will have learnt a lot today. Disappointment for him, disappointment for the Australians. Delight for Colombia and their French team, Delcourt Marseille. Well, the final preparations being made down there alongside the podium, as you can see. Photographers ready and waiting, cameras down there too. VIPs have turned up, local dignitaries ready to give away those prizes. It also looks as though everyone's across the line as well now. Well, we await the presentation ceremony at the Tour of Taihu Lake. Just joining us, the news is that Leo Duque has stolen the overall with some brilliant riding from Cameron Bailey, who had a fall on the descent and has dropped off the top 10 altogether. Well, we're still waiting for the presentation, but it sounds as though our busy reporter Tim Often has managed to get hold of somebody else down in that podium area. He's with one of the team managers.
So what a fantastic result in the end. You couldn't have believed that was going to happen today, probably.
Yeah, my heart rate was higher than the riders in the final, I think, in the race car.
What was the plan going in? I mean,
The plan was actually already the other days to take a bonification seconds as much as we could. So the other day we succeeded with the 4 seconds. Yesterday, 4th. So today was the final countdown. We have to win the stage. That was only the way we could win the GC. So everything went our way.
And what a way for him to see out his career, his last day as a professional cyclist, and he does this.
I think it's, what else you can, okay, you can win the Tour de France in the last day, but what else I can wish for? It's good, of course, it's nice.
And how important was it that Lucas was up the road there to help out? I mean, what was the plan when you had 2 men in the break?
And they went to the front to make like all others, like Villiers, they also make a tempo high, so that the yellow jersey team has to, of course, work hard, and so, but unlucky for them, they crashed out, and so, and then they let final our guys and the Villiers, and so they sorted out in the last line.
And when you knew there was Duque up there, you knew he was going to win the sprint, so could you relax a little bit, or you still...
Of course, I was stressed because there are 4 riders, because when they are only 2, that was like more, let's say, okay, he has a more chance, but then they arrive 2 more. So I see the Dutch guys coming really strong, and so that means it was in a danger because they have only 9 seconds. So if the Dutch guy wins and he's then it's, everything can happen. So, but in the end, everything turned out was, of course, the last 5K was like, like I told you, heart rate was higher than what the riders.
But that's why you like being a team manager. This is what you live for.
Yeah, of course, that's the part of the work.
Well, many congratulations. Thanks for talking.
He can calm down now, and I'm sure he'll enjoy himself tonight. The team manager of Delco Marseille. This was the culmination of that high heart rate. It ended with Duque winning the sprint. The sprint was launched when Ortega hit the front. Into the barriers and well into the 200 meters to go. It was a late one. Godoy was there. Schulting launched it from a long way back. Duque managed to hold on. His last pedal stroke as a pro, over the line first. The next stage, and the jersey. So what a week it's been. 8 days, 7 road stages, the last of them bringing all the drama that we could hope for. Leo Duque wins the Tour of Taihu Lake. From me, Rob Hatch, and all the team here, it's been a pleasure being with you this week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next year. Goodbye.